Great. I see us live on YouTube and Facebook. So since I've had a hiccup this morning with my internet, I'm going to double check that that is a fact. Had a hiccup this morning. Awesome. I already see a couple of you already on here with us. You know, I like to wait just a quick minute. I know we're a little bit behind on getting started, so I won't wait as long as I generally do, but we'll get started here in a minute. In the meantime, as you are starting to join us, you can do me the huge favor of giving me a thumbs up, a reaction to the video. You can also comment so I can see who is engaged with us on this broadcast this morning. All right, so I saw the little alert. We'll go ahead and get kicked off and started. Good morning and happy Monday to all of you that are tuned in with us onto this broadcast. Good evening or afternoon if you end up watching this later on and we are no longer live. Happy to continue to bring live broadcasts to you going on 2 years now. You can find a lot of these videos in the video section here on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel where we are streaming this simultaneously. Feel free to always share both platforms with others that you may know that are interested in what's going on around them in our community, which leads me to my next kind of couple of comments that I'll give you, and that's how to engage with us on all things social media. You can find us here, of course, on Facebook and YouTube. We are also on LinkedIn, Westminster Chamber of Commerce, on Twitter and Instagram, Westy Chamber. And of course, our website is westminsterchamber.biz for those of you that have never gone to before. Now, I am Juliet Abdel, Westminster Chamber President and CEO, and I want to welcome you onto our broadcast with us, welcoming our guest, of course, Councilor Nurmela, for spending some of her morning with us, and asking each of you, if it is your very first time, to hit the like button on this page and make sure that you're following it, but also to hit the share button on this video so others can see that we are live, as they generally also have questions and also have a curious mind just as much as you. So the way that we engage with you, of course, is through the comment section. As you are joining us on the broadcast, you can comment away. We'll be able to pick up your comments and display them as we've done right now with our current board chairman, Brian Dice, who was on here promptly at 11 a.m. waiting for us to come here. So thank you for tuning in, Brian. I will admit that I have some internet hiccups. So if I freeze, continue to pay attention to our Councilor Nurmela. Thank you so much for being on here with me once again. There's been a lot that's transpired between the last time until today, and I know that we are on a time crunch with your busy schedule, not only as a counselor, but a business professional. So I'm turning this over to you to give us those updates.
Great. Thank you, Juliet. I really love being on Westminster Chamber's live broadcast because I think it really helps to get people updates weekly. And I know you do so many during the week that hopefully everybody is really engaged in what's going on in Westminster. So I just have some updates that I can share. I know over the past, last week was pretty eventful in the city. We had a couple of explosions that were residential explosions. So I know there's a lot of activity. We had one at the Stratus townhomes that engulfed 8 townhomes and put 8 families out of their homes. And we also had a really significant explosion of one house on Knox Court that did result in a casualty. Luckily, with the Stratus townhomes, no one was injured as far as we know. And there was a lot of impact to the surrounding homes on Knox Court. So the fire department has been very busy over the past week. And we did have also, I just wanted to share my condolences to the families that lost a couple of students at Stanley Lake High School. There was a really significant crash over the weekend that several kids lost their lives and were severely injured. And so I just want to extend my condolences out, and any way that we can help the families, let us know. So yeah, but I don't want to start on this.
I know it's such a bad note, but I do want to reiterate the respects that you just gave toward our Westminster Fire Department and their ability to react and respond to those situations. And similarly, even with our police department, them kind of sharing out the communication as those fires were happening and as those lives were, potentially endangered by it. So really great news. Even in the troubling situation that it was in as it relates to those townhomes, of course, though there wasn't any casualties or anything. Do we know what sparked that or what caused those?
Yeah, they're still investigating, but there were some they had just been fixing some water heaters, and so because one of the things I was wondering about is there a larger issue with the cell gas lines, but I think it was. I don't know. I think these were just two unique instances. Okay. So, but still, I think they're both still under investigation. So that's what our fire folks do as well. They follow up with Excel to figure out what the issue is, that we're not all, that we're identifying if we are having an issue or not. I did also, just on the note of the firefighters, I did, invite them to having a North Jeffco town hall, and we're having both Arvada and Westminster firefighters talk about just fire preparedness. And our Westminster firefighters have a fantastic overview of their participation in the Marshall Fire, and I should have been a little more prepared on this. Was just off the cuff. It's the Saturday 9:30 to 11, and I will get that. Sure. I will send you that info, but I'll also get it on my Facebook as well, so that and send it to you so you can post it if you're interested.
Absolutely.
I did also want to note that there will be, we just got we get our updates from our staff on a weekly basis, and one of the things that they highlighted for us was that the water tank replacements that are going to happen at the City Hall site, there's going to be continued. They had some outreach last fall, but they're going to continue and go do another round of outreach. It's essentially just going to be tearing the existing two down, and then replacing them. So hopefully it should not be any, additional impact, but so that people know what's going on. The staff will be continuing to do that. And then I think an exciting thing to note that we have, that we're placing throughout the city is a new trail wayfinding signs, so that when you're out there, you kind of know where you're going. And so not only do these wayfinding signs just help you identify the trails a little bit better and give you some ideas on which trail you should potentially go on, but they also have, they're numbered so that as if you do have an emergency out on the trail, that you would be able to identify to the police or firefighters where you are by the trail number, by the sign number. So just some great ways of improving our safety. And then I should note, so for the agendas this evening, actually last week, I do want to note that we did meet for a second time on our strategic plan. So that was on the 22nd. And we were following up on just our original 2-day session on our strategic plan to kind of see, all right, how is this playing out in terms of updating our goals and objectives for the year. And one of the things that I think the business community will be interested to see is that we did highlight, and you can see this on just believe from the agenda on the 22nd, it's a draft, but under the preparedness and resilience priority, that we are going to be focusing on creating more structured business support and potentially creating a business rep or facilitator so that we can make sure that our business community has a liaison at the city that's helping them with the everyday needs that they have. So that was one of our focuses on just our overall recovery with our business community, but also just making sure that we continue to have a really thriving business environment and economy in the city. So wanted to highlight that, but it's still in motion. We should have a kind of a fuller, more finalized draft in the next coming weeks. So I did not see it on our agenda for tonight. But I would say on our agenda tonight, one of the highlights is a further reduction of our water rates. We had a study session last Tuesday following our strategic plan session, just really diving into what options we have. And these are residential water rates. The commercial water rates are not anticipated to change. And so, the focus is for everybody to make living in Westminster affordable. And I know there are a lot of ways to tackle that, whether it's housing or, just job availability and wages, as well as, what are our services costing us. And so we're trying to create a level of consensus on what those water rates should be, but it's really, it's a very complicated process to be able to identify, how do we have a utility that hopefully pays mostly for itself and over time, but that is affordable. And Westminster is not the only community that is dealing with this, and it will continue to be an issue for cities as they kind of hit their second round of water treatment facility improvements. That a lot of communities in our region don't have water facilities that are too old, right? And so now we're just all getting, just like so many cities throughout the country, we're all getting to this point where we do need to have significant replacements. And so I think Westminster is on the forefront, or just a model of that decision point that a lot of communities are hitting. So please have patience with us as we try and work that out. And what else can I say? One thing I think that we'll be hitting directly following, once we we're going to be doing a study for what are our options for water treatment facility improvements. And we're going to be doing a focus study on looking at our Semper water treatment plant and how that might be able to be rehabilitated as an option to how we, whether we do a new water treatment facility or not. And that's going to take about 3 or 4 months. So we're going to be well into summer with this kind of long-term decision-making. But tonight there are some water rates coming up for us to vote on. Directly following the water rates, I'm just going and flying. So I should
great.
Are there questions on these
You can stop just to take a breath. There's so much. I see Bernadette on here with us, and I also see David Phyllis. Thank you for joining us on the broadcast. We have Councilor Nurmela giving us a nice update on what is going on in our community from the fires, recent tragedies that some families have experienced in our Jeffco part of the community with the schools, primarily school-aged children, all the way to highlighting some of the activity that's been going on over the last week around the second meeting for the strategic plan for the city, which you can find that on the city's page for you to review. And what we'll go ahead and do quickly is a lot of the information that we're touching on, if it is agenda related, if it's meeting related, you can find the link in the chat section. That's cityofwestminster.us/agendas. And then shortly, I'll also include a link to the YouTube channel for the city where you can actually replay and watch some of those videos. The really cool thing about watching them later is that you don't have to, you can fast forward parts and get to the key items. There's always a lot that's discussed, but actually the meeting last week, I do have to commend you all. That was very smooth sailing. I think you actually finished a little bit earlier than the end time that was listed. And I was shocked by that. I'm sure you all were as well, but I think that speaks to the more times that you all are meeting together, the more gelled you're becoming, and the more that you are willing to listen to one another a lot quicker and kind of work together on things quickly. So we've also touched on water, the discussion around water, and how that's continuing on all the way to an assessment of our existing treatment plan to see if that's a feasible update to it as opposed to rebuilding a new one that's out there. And thank you so much for sharing the timeline of 3 to 4 months, because I think sometimes when we talk about things like this and then people don't see any activity or any results in the next week or 2 weeks, they think that nothing's happened. But it's a process, and it's a process that takes a longer period of time to really undergo thoroughly.
Yeah, there's a in the agenda for tonight, under the informational items, there's a good breakdown of just what we've done for water. I know, like you said, it seems like, oh, come on, you guys have been in office for several months. But it's there have been a lot of milestones that we've hit, and it does. We are trying to do this pretty methodically and kind of understand the issue, break it down, do some study, really intensive studies to make the right decision. And so I don't think you'll hear anything different from any of the other counselors. They all want to kind of roll up their sleeves and understand what the best decision should be. So yeah, that's in the informational session for tonight. And that I think that'll be really helpful. What was the other? There was something like there was something.
I know, I cut you off.
I was going. Sorry.
That's okay. Well, while you're thinking through, I'll quickly display the YouTube link for those of you that want to rewatch at any point in time. Any of the videos, whether it's our city council meetings, special meetings that they've been keen on having the last few months to really attack this issue and other topics on their radar. We also touched on the town hall that's coming up on Saturday. Thank you for emphasizing that. I thought that was a really nice segue for those people that are interested in fire safety and everything in regard to our department and their response and activity. That'll be taking place on Saturday. And then, of course, the new trailway finding signs. And I can't think of who it was. I can't give a credit to this, but it was either our current city manager or maybe one of our counselors that was talking about this to me before. And they were sharing, that, if you are on the trail, it's essentially like it might be suggestive of what you should do, like throw this away or but it doesn't really tell you where you're at or where to go from there. And the more that we see some news, right, and it's not here in our city or in our community, but it's great to be mindful of where you're at in your environment. So I think that from a safety standpoint, it's going to be really helpful for us to have out there.
Yeah. One thing I was going to, I did remember my other thing.
Yeah.
You'll also see tonight that we have an info item about our business survey. And I know that Juliet, the chamber, worked with staff to develop that. I was going through all the questions to make sure. I was like, well, it's pretty comprehensive. So it's a great survey. I hope that the business community does participate, because it's one of the best ways for us to engage, are you growing? What are your needs? And, what kinds of things should we as a council be focusing on? And it's perfect timing, because that's going to come in, all the data will come in, and it helps us as we get back into our comprehensive plan. So we had a draft last fall of our comprehensive plan. I know that the chamber has provided us some great comments, but it also just helps us be thinking about how do we ensure that we are creating a community and focusing in on the things that will best serve us in the long term to have a vibrant economy and have businesses really thrive here. I know it's been a struggle to, find housing for people. It's, as so many people have moved in the Denver area, it's like, where are the people? How do we find employees? And so we know that that's an issue and that we do need to be thinking about as we head into our comprehensive plan update, or at least refining that update, because a lot of work has been done over the past couple of years. So so please, I'm plugging that. So I don't know, Juliet, maybe Juliet, you know exactly when, but I know Juliet will be letting everybody know when to check in on.
Yes. So. Absolutely. We will information share anything that is for our business community. And that's what's been incredibly helpful is having our elected officials, you all create that continuity between a private sector and public sector, and in making sure that we are working as much as we can together and for the better of our overall community. So we will continue to stay on the lookout for those items as they come out that relate and support our business community, and be able to share that out. Councilor, I don't want to lose sight that I held us up at the start of this broadcast with my internet issues. And when that happened, that threw us off slightly. And I know you're back to back on things, so I don't want to lose sight of the timing, but I have you for a few more minutes. Was there anything that you were hoping to highlight that we did not get a chance to highlight already, and that we can get out there to folks? Thank you, John, for hopping on, by the way. I see you tuned in.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, I'm sure I'm missing things, so don't think that just because I'm forgetting that it's not important. It's we have a lot that we're going over tonight, and I know I'm happy to answer questions too.
Sure.
Maybe that'll.
Yeah. So if anyone on here does have a question for a counselor, please type that into the chat section for us so we can get to that. You can also ask us questions if we are no longer live. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, I missed this broadcast. That quite happens actually quite often when someone does reach out and they're like, oh, I'm used to it at a specific or at this time, and then I just saw it a little bit later, etc. You can always ask us those questions or comments, and we'll direct them over to our counselor. Councilor Nurmela, is there a good way that you want people to reach out to you? I know in the past we've told them to go through like Access Westminster and like that,
totally, just call me. I now know my phone number, guys. So pathetic. Yes. So you can just call me on my phone or text me. Of course, you can email me as well. So the phone number is 720-460-9277. And the other way to get a hold of me, obviously, is just emailing me. These are probably the best ways to get a hold of me. And texts and chats pretty easy, because even if I'm in a meeting, I can see it coming across. And then, so my email is snurmela, so SNURMELA there you go, cityofwestminster.us. So those are the best ways. And I would definitely like to hear from folks and whatever's on your mind, especially from our business community, just letting us know, again, as we're going into the comp plan. I know it's a big document. Yeah. So I think once we get to the point of, bringing that back online in terms of us, updating what's in there right now, I think just reading the agenda memo will be much shorter than the actual document.
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah. A lot easier to digest.
Executive summaries are always good, or just dive into the economy section, and just see what we're thinking about there. But I know there's so many other things that contribute to making it a good business environment. So,
It is all intertwined. You're absolutely right. Like all the sections do play into it. There might be one that is more focused to our business, but they all affect it and our overall community. So I love the summaries. So whenever you can read them, but definitely invest in your coffee or whatever your favorite non-caffeinated energy might be, and just go at it and read it through and see what sections you're interested in. You learn so much in reading this documents, that I think most people, whenever they do start going through them, they're like, okay, this makes a lot more sense. Like, this is how our city functions and works. And yeah, I love that. And I love that you've shared your phone number and your email. We've typed that into the chat section for you all. We'll quickly display them once again, her phone number that you can call or text, and the email address is included in the chat section. If at any point in time you want to be able to reach out to Councilor Nurmela directly, you can do so. Of course, tonight is a meeting. You can find all the details on the cityofwestminster.us page. We've included that link at the very start of this broadcast. We'll flash it once again for you so that you can be aware of it. We'll come back to you with the details around the town hall meeting that was referenced, of course, on Saturday for you all. And be sure to not only hit the share button on this video. If you watch it later, give us the hashtag replay so we know that you tuned in later. Ask us a question. If you are uncomfortable doing so publicly, you can DM the page. If you want us to be the conduit to your counselor and you're not comfortable directly asking, we can do that as well. So private messages at any point in time, we can address that for you. And before I completely close out, this Friday is our second Policy and Pancakes event. If you've not attended this before, very informative. We have a great opportunity here from Senator Zenzinger, Representative Spurd, and Representative Doherty on everything that's going on at the state capitol from their lens. And so it's a great opportunity for that great networking and, of course, the food and provided by the Ranch Country Club. So hopefully we'll see you on Friday bright and early. Counselor, thank you so much for being patient on this broadcast with us and for sharing this information. Brian reiterates a quick thank you to you for all of the good information that you have shared with us today. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
All right. I hope you do too. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.